And the first thing that we all wanted to hear was Eva Cassidy.
I think we had something special with Eva Cassidy, but
she has that same ability to connect with people without any artifice, without any barrier. It's like out of her mouth into your heart. That's what Eva had.
And you know, her use of vibrato is so subtle.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
She doesn't know.
But she was brilliant, and she had that childlike, lovely thing, which was just the magic.
When an artist transcends genres and their talent and dedication erase boundaries of what one usually sees, or better said in this case, hears, you know it is something special. The one in a million. Such is the impact of Eva Cassidy's music on many first-time listeners, and sure it was on me many years ago. Her life had many twists and hurdles, but the greatest sadness of all is that she is no longer with us. We can only imagine what her later years could have brought to the music as an art. Thankfully, Eva Cassidy left behind recordings, which were mostly issued as albums after her passing. A treasure trove of magical vocal performances that brought her immortal fame and recognition. There are 2 books about her life and several documentaries relying mostly on her recording performances. As I could not find a true biographical video of her life, I decided to try to do one myself. Hope you'll enjoy it. Though she was born in Washington Hospital Center in Washington, Eva Marie Cassidy has European origins. Her father, Hugh Cassidy, served as a medic in US Army Hospital in Germany in 1960s, in the town where his future wife, Barbara Cassidy, was born and lived at the time. They moved to the US while Barbara Cassidy was pregnant and when Hugh Cassidy's service was over. Eva Cassidy was born on February 2, 1963, and when she was 10 months old, it already almost ended tragically for her. She fell between the railings in her crib and her head got stuck in a way that she was hanging by her neck. Mother saved Eva with her past medical background and she gave her mouth-to-mouth breathing help. Still, she had to be rushed to the hospital because of convulsions, but was discharged after a few days with no damage. Already as a child, Eva Cassidy showed an avid interest in art. Her mother would take her and her siblings to museums where they would look at the paintings of the old masters like Vermeer and Van Gogh. On the other hand, her father nurtured her musical side through the large record collection of acoustic music. Eva took a lot of interest into records and through the time decided that she wants to be a singer. Her first instrument was an autoharp, which she mastered quickly, although its limitations didn't satisfy her for long. So her dad gave her the nylon string guitar a year later and he showed her the basics of the instrument. She often played with her brother Dan, who started learning the violin. Eva Cassidy's transition to junior high school was a traumatic experience, as she struggled to adapt to a rough, less tolerant environment far from her quiet middle-class neighborhood. She became an outsider, retreating into art and music, but faced bullying from classmates who resented her refusal to conform. This period marked a turning point in her life, as she lost her childhood optimism and motivation for schoolwork, though she continued to create art. Despite her struggles, Eva found solace in music, joining a choir where her talent and humility were appreciated by a few kindred spirits.
The artistic stuff came along first, long before music. Her scribbles seemed to have a little more to them than the average kid's. Her stick figures were amazingly lifelike, even though they were still stick figures and obviously the work of a child. They had motion and feeling about them that we recognized. She had a natural talent for figures and movement.
Her high school years shaped her quiet, compassionate nature and her reluctance to seek the spotlight, even as her artistic and musical abilities began to shine. Eva struggled with her father Hugh's criticism of her lack of ambition and school performance, yet she deeply valued his approval and internalized his perfectionist tendencies. Hugh introduced his children to influential rock and roll and folk albums, shifting their musical tastes from acoustic folk to electric rock with favorites like Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles. Eva admired Linda Ronstadt's interpretative singing style, but never adopted Ronstadt's feminine, southern-inspired fashion sense. Alongside her brother Dan, Eva was particularly drawn to West Coast music, frequently playing Fleetwood Mac songs like Ryan On and Don't Stop. Fleetwood Mac keyboardist and vocalist Christine McVie's Songbird later became a significant song closely associated with Eva. She spent much of her time alone in her small bedroom, drawing and practicing guitar, immersing herself in a creative world to escape external pressures. Exploring diverse musical influences, from Aretha Franklin's soul to Ella Fitzgerald's jazz, Eva learned techniques like vibrato and scadding, while also being deeply inspired by an unknown female singer whose timeless voice she strived to replicate. This unknown female singer has never been revealed, though it was the most significant influence in Eva's maturing as a singer. Hugh pushed her family band to improve, often critiquing Eva's vocals, but also guiding her to master songs like Paul Simon's American Tune, which helped elevate her musical skills. During this period, Eva was drawn to brooding boys in black leather, leading to a 2-year relationship with Thurston, a dominant musician who rode a motorbike. While Dan liked him, others disapproved, and Eva eventually ended the relationship, realizing Thurston was a negative influence. Her struggles with self-image were evident in her art, such as a drawing of a bleeding pig she identified as herself, and she often felt insecure about her appearance despite moments of happiness captured in photos. Meanwhile, Eva and her brother Dan joined the hard rock band Nightwing, where her dramatic vocals and his violin added a gothic edge to their music, though they struggled to stand out. Between sets, the siblings showcased their talent as a duo, performing heartfelt duets that left a lasting impression on audiences, catching the attention of Ned Judy, a skilled pianist who recognized their potential and invited them to collaborate on more ambitious musical projects. The Cassidy children, who had previously struggled to connect with others, found an unexpected sense of belonging with their new bandmates, many of whom still played together in a jazz band called Mosaic. Before joining, Dan and Eva set 2 conditions: shared musical vision and personal compatibility, which were met during their first rehearsal in 1980, marking the start of a deep friendship. Practicing nightly, the band treated Eva as an equal, fostering her confidence and creating a tight-knit group they called Collective Hermits, united by their love of music and mutual acceptance. Named Stonehenge, the band became a haven with Eva's powerful performances, including her stunning Janis Joplin impersonation, captivating audiences. Beyond music, Stonehenge became a central part of their life, with the members spending nearly every moment together, bonding over shared interests and creating a sense of family that transcended their artistic endeavors. The band often visited the Merelas Beach House in Ocean City, where Eva and Dan performed on the boardwalk, drawing crowds until police had to intervene. Realizing their talent deserved a wider audience, they ventured into Washington DC's gigging scene, signing with a talent agency and shifting their repertoire to jazz and blues standards, renaming themselves Easy Street. Their first gig at the Manassas Lodge of the Elks was a learning experience, with Eva navigating uncomfortable situations like being asked to dance, which she avoided thereafter. While the band adapted to rowdy audiences and the pressure of performing, Eva struggled with the expectation to entertain rather than connect deeply through music, as she viewed her art as a serial emotional expression. Despite experimenting with partying, Eva remained reserved, her bandmates later reflecting that a more relaxed approach might have made her life easier.
When she played with those bands and she had to scream, I always sort of felt sorry for her and wondered just how long her vocal cords were going to last with all this screaming. To me, it just wasn't pleasant to listen to. But then one time she put in this tape and it had her singing The Rose, the song Bette Midler had made famous, and it gave me goosebumps. There was this gorgeous ballad and it really blew me away. I started thinking, there is really something special going on. That was when it dawned on me how beautiful her voice was. She had made a tape and played it for us, and I knew there was something great. That was the moment I realized.
Over Christmas 1981, Easy Street performed on the marketing, delivering a mix of festive songs and Eva's heartfelt performances, which resonated with the somber mood of the holiday crowd. While the band balanced their commercial gigs with the artistic pursuit of Stonehenge, their bond deepened through shared musical values and complex harmonies inspired by groups like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Eva's confidence grew as she contributed her innate knowledge of part singing and began creating art in the company of her bandmates, a significant step for once shy teenager. Despite her self-critical nature, which led her to destroy unsatisfactory drawings, the boys often saved her discarded works, with Ned Judd amassing a unique collection. Meanwhile, Eva worked as a hot walker at a racecourse, showcasing her strength and affinity for horses, though a traumatic incident involving an escaped horse left a lasting impression on her. Eva's empathy for animals led to a series of awkward incidents at the racecourse, culminating in her quitting after witnessing the brutal treatment of a rat, which deeply upset her as she really loved animals. She then found solace working at Banke's garden nursery, reconnecting with nature and enjoying the physical labor of tending to plants. Meanwhile, her musician friends took us on summer gigs at an amusement park, performing in various shows, though Eva initially resisted due to her dislike for the cheerful, informal atmosphere. However, in 1983, she auditioned and joined them, gaining valuable performance experience and a steady income, which allowed her to experiment creatively in Ned's home studio. There she developed her unique vocal arrangements, including her classic rendition of Over the Rainbow, while also collaborating with Larry on recordings like Do Lord, which later appeared on her album Time After Time.
When she was 22 or 23, she started taking arrangements seriously and so began stylizing the songs. She realized she was a song stylist, that was her role, and she was going to go for it. She would just improvise over and over again and keep the best improvisation. It kept building and building and building, and after a couple of years she had full-fledged arrangements. And that's when she first sang Over the Rainbow, same arrangement, same guitar. Not as polished, but the arrangement was as it is today. The arrangement was settled. I guess that was 8 or 10 years before she recorded it. She'd be sitting there in her room by herself, and she wouldn't have people to play off. She would just have the song to play off, and I think she reflects the words very well. She could put something new into Over the Rainbow because she's a creative genius. Some people can breathe new life into anything old.
Her musical journey took a more serious turn when she met composer Michael Ingram, marking a new chapter in her artistic development. After the summer, Michael Ingram returned to Ohio to finish college, but continued collaborating with Nan, Larry and Eva on music during visits to Maryland, where they recorded songs in Ned's bedroom. Ingram later traveled to Europe and New York before returning to Maryland in 1980s with plans to create a record with his friends, aiming to sell it to an independent British label. Under the name Characters Without Names, they recorded several songs, but only Mute Records showed interest, praising Eva's voice while remaining unsure of how to market the material. Ingram and Ned moved to Baltimore to work on a new theatrical songs, envisioning a multimedia show featuring Eva's artwork, though the project never came to fruition. During this time, the band members balanced their music with day jobs, with Eva refining her vocal and guitar skills, deeply influenced by jazz and soul legends like Ella Fitzgerald, Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin, whose concerts she attended with Ned.
People liked Eva because she still had some of that sunshine left, and they knew she was talented. She could draw pictures of little things and make people laugh. She used to joke and laugh and do imitations and things. She never would do imitations for me, but I have it on good authority that she could imitate Barbra Streisand and do all the facial things. She could imitate Judy Garland and get it right on center. You name the popular singers of the day, the women singers, and she could do them all. Once in a while, I'd catch her when she didn't know I was around, and I'd hear her doing them, and I'd think, gee, This is pretty good.
Despite her growing talent, Eva's fear of the spotlight led her to obscure her voice with effects and rely heavily on layered instrumentation, while she also continued to explore her passion for visual art, creating paintings and sculptures that reflected her love of nature and her signature use of blue and white tones. The close-knit groups of friends began to disperse as Michael, Ned, Larry and others moved to Los Angeles to pursue music, while Dan left for Europe to join a folk band. Eva, however, hesitated to follow, declining an offer to join the California Institute of Fine Arts due to her aversion to relocation, financial constraints and discomfort with the institution's Disney affiliation. Instead, she chose to stay in Maryland, enrolling in art classes at Prince George Community College, where she won the Blue Ribbon Prize for her oil painting of a New Guinea chief. Despite her artistic success, Eva felt stifled by formal instruction and left after one semester, continuing to create and share her art independently. Meanwhile, David Loring, who had stayed nearby, began collaborating with Eva on music, allowing her to improvise and layer vocals freely, resulting in a unique and beautiful body of work.
Eva and I grew up together, more or less. We both attended Bowie Senior High, although she was a year ahead of me. Her brother Dan and I were friends originally. We used to play music in the hallways. I'd play guitar, and he'd play violin, and people would throw money at us. Dan and I would get together after school, trying to make a band. I had heard Eva sing with him in another band. I remember the first time I heard her sing, she did a heart song called Crazy on You. And I was amazed at how much she sounded like Ann Wilson. So I asked Dan if she would be interested in performing with us. He asked her, and she agreed to do it. That's how the band Stonehenge came to be.
Together they assembled a band to perform live, hoping to attract record labels and share their music with a wider audience. During a talent show organized by the studio owner, Eva and her band, dressed in hippie and 80s attire, performed but were overwhelmed by nerves, especially with Warner Music executives in attendance, leading to a disappointing performance. In contrast, another group, the Judy Bats, impressed the executives and secured the record deal, leaving Eva's group disheartened, though Eva herself felt relieved, fearing commitment to a style that wasn't entirely her own. This fear of confinement became a recurring theme in her career. Meanwhile, Eva's path crossed with Chris Biondo, who ran Black Pond Studio and was captivated by her vocal talent and ability to improvise harmonies, even as she performed singing from a broom cupboard to avoid attention. In 1988, the album Method Actor was released, showcasing Eva's voice on 8 tracks and featuring her striking collage artwork on the cover, which she was particularly proud of.
Eva Cassidy gave it her all. With her crystal clear voice and passion-filled arrangements, she adopted a broad audience. While this first album by Cassidy is quite different from her later recordings, it elucidates that special quality in her voice and temperament that came to be recognized far and wide. 10 rock and blues anthems, composed by Method Actor's lead guitarist and pianist, David Christopher, make a comfortable session that's easy on the ears. The dramatic poise in Cassidy's voice makes each track shine brightly. Her multi-tracked background vocals as well provide exceptional examples. Cassidy's interpretation of Stay, for instance, warms the heart through its genuine spirit. End the Rain and How Will It End provide a dramatic rock anthem feeling that can stay with you all day long.
The album marked a significant step up in her career, earning a review in Washington Post that praised her unique, otherworldly tone and compared her to artists like Ann Wilson and Grace Slick. When Method Actor decided to tour, they recruited Tony and Marybeth Bernoulli to replicate Eva's complex background vocals, which she had improvised and never written down, making the task challenging. Despite their efforts, Eva had to guide them through each line, revealing her talent not just as a singer, but also as a composer and arranger. On stage, Eva's insecurity shone through, as she preferred having her backing singers close by to avoid the spotlight. Even Estonia and Marybeth marveled at her immense talent. Around this time, Eva and her brother Dan were inspired by Alison Krauss' performances, with Eva repeatedly listening to her recordings for years. Meanwhile, Eva reconnected with Chris Biondo, expressing her desire to pursue a music career and seeking his help to create a demo tape, which she paid for by painting a portrait of his dog, Bernice.
She had a few songs that she wanted to do. There was an Aretha Franklin song called When the Whistle Blows, An Angel by Jimi Hendrix, and Bridge Over Troubled Water. But the problem was, we just didn't have enough songs to play live, so Keith brought over a pile of stuff and taught us to play a couple of dozen songs, and that was the thing that gave us enough material. There were some up-tempo things that she picked and liked to do, like Route 66, but there were some songs she wasn't too crazy about, like Respect. That was the most popular song we did, and I thought it was kind of important that we do it, because you save your big guns for the end. If you want to go out smoking, you've just got to play Respect. Everyone loved it. She liked the song. She just didn't think she sang it good enough.
Their friendship grew despite their contrasting personalities, with Chris admiring Eva's musical abilities and her unique compassionate nature, such as her suggestion on one occasion to relocate ants rather than kill them. Eva began working as a backup singer in various studios, earning recognition for her harmonizing skills, pitch-perfect voice, and ability to adapt seamlessly to any musical role. Eva's versatility even led her to experiment with rap, contributing to vocals to E40's 1996 album The Hall of Game, where she delivered lines about pimps and hustlers with surprising ease, showcasing her adaptability. Chris Biondo, recognizing Eva's immense talent and vision, forming a new band centered around her, enlisting guitarist Keith Grimes, whose refined style complemented her voice perfectly. Alongside Chris on bass, drummer William Juju House, and later keyboardist Lenny Williams, the group began to take shape. Though Lenny was initially hesitant, wary of musical industry's challenges.
I had known Chris Biondo very slightly, and I got a call from him. He invited me to his studio to hear a tape of a singer he was working with. You know, Chris, he has a kind of Sergeant Joe Friday way of talking. He said, "You have to listen to this singer. She's great." Well, lots of people call up and say, "You've got to hear this singer. She's so wonderful," and she's really not. So I went over, feeling grumpy that I had to listen to a tape and try to excuse myself in some diplomatic way. Then, when he played Eva's tape, all my grumpiness was gone. I realized, of course, that she was a really good singer, and that her musical interests lay in some areas that are similar to mine. So I said, yeah, I'd really like to meet Eva and see if we can do something together. I think it was only a week after that we played our first job.
Despite Ella's reluctance, Chris pushed to name the group the Eva Cassidy Band and sought a manager, eventually connecting with Al Dale, who was immediately struck by Eva's voice, mistaking her for a seasoned black vocalist. Al saw her potential for stardom, but Chris emphasized Eva's persistent self-doubt, a recurring obstacle in her journey. Eva's reluctance to embrace fame and her stubbornness made it challenging for manager Al Dale to guide her career, as she preferred creating music and art in solitude over the glitz of stardom.
I first met Eva at Chris Biondo's studio. I was there picking up some tapes. A group I was managing at the time had done some recording there. When I got there, Chris was in a recording session, so I just sat in the booth with him, and I heard this incredible voice. Chris said something like, "Man, you're not going to believe this, Eva Cassidy. You've got to meet her. She's something special." She was doing a backup vocal thing. She was laying some tracks for that. And then, when she walked out, he said, "That's Eva." I said, "That's Eva?" I was floored, first because I had predetermined that she was black, and two, I just didn't know she was going to come out like Eva.
Despite her aversion to the stage, the Eva Cassidy Band began performing in 1991, starting at Fetty's in Rockville. Though Eva often limited their set list to songs that resonated with her emotionally, favoring ballads over more upbeat tracks. The band played diverse venues, from Chinese restaurants to open mic nights, often earning little to no money, but gaining experience and refining their sound. Eva's partnership with guitarist Kid Grimes was pivotal, as he adapted his style to complement her voice, though they occasionally clashed over repertoire choices, with Eva favoring melancholic songs while Kid pushed for more audience-engaging material. Despite their efforts to generate buzz, the band struggled to attract large crowds, and often performing to sparse audiences, but Eva's dedication to her craft and her unique voice left a lasting impression on those who heard her. All Dale's attempts to glamorize Eva for publicity photos were met with resistance, as she rejected the idea of using her appearance to sell music, opting instead for a natural, down-to-earth style that reflected her more authentically. Despite Al's efforts to improve her stage presence by teaching her dance moves and encouraging her to engage more with the audience, Eva remained true to herself, refusing to adapt to flashy personas of pop stars like Madonna or Janet Jackson. Her discomfort with the spotlight was evident during performances, where she often stood still, focusing on her music rather than showmanship. While some gigs, like the one at Cotton Eye Joe's, were disheartening due to a lack of audience, others, such as her performance at Schutt's Pool Hall, allowed her to feel more at ease. Over time, Eva grew more comfortable on stage, though she remained critical of technical issues, occasionally venting her frustration on equipment. Her dedication to her craft led her to seek out better instruments, like the Yamaha guitar she used for her iconic recording of Over the Rainbow, even if it wasn't always the most practical choice for her. Eva eventually found her perfect guitar, a Guild Songbird, which she used for the rest of her life, though she relied on Kid Grimes and Mike Doe to tune it due to her strong hands, a result of the physical, demanding daytime job. Despite her struggles with tuning, Eva's performances grew stronger, highlighted by a standout gig at 1992 Taste of DC Festival, where the band played after Little Feat and delivered an unforgettable show. Meanwhile, Dan Cassidy attempted to help Eva secure a record deal by reaching out to famous producer Daniel Lanois, but his efforts were thwarted by a snowstorm in Chicago. Around the same time, Eva's talent caught the attention of Chuck Brown, the godfather of go-go, during a recording session for his new album. After Chris Biondo played Eva's rendition of Stormy Monday, Chuck was visibly impressed, marking the beginning of a significant collaboration that would further elevate Eva's musical journey. Chuck Brown was initially stunned to discover that Eva Cassidy, the singer with the powerful, soulful voice he admired, was a petite blonde woman, not a black artist he had assumed. Despite their vastly different backgrounds, the two quickly formed a strong musical bond, beginning with their collaboration on the duet You've Changed. Chuck appreciated Eva's down-to-earth nature and shared her deep love for music, particularly the American songbook, while Eva was thrilled to work with legends like Chuck. Their partnership allowed Eva to step out of her comfort zone, as Chuck's influence encouraged her to embrace new musical challenges, though she remained steadfast in her refusal to compromise her artistic integrity for commercial success. Chris Biondo, recognizing the potential of this collaboration, shifted focus from securing a solo deal for Eva to producing a duet album with Chuck, assembling a talented group of musicians, including veteran drummer Race McLeod, to bring their vision to life. This partnership marked a turning point in Eva's career, allowing her to explore new creative heights while staying true to her authentic self. Rice McLeod, a seasoned drummer with a rich musical background, joined the Eva Cassidy band after being impressed by Eva's extraordinary voice. He quickly became an integral part of the group, stepping in to record with Chuck Brown when Juju House was unavailable. Race's dynamic drumming style perfectly complemented Chuck and Eva's collaboration, leading to his involvement in the entire album, The Other Side, released in 1992. The album, blending jazz, blues and soul, was a success, showcasing the unique chemistry between Chuck's seasoned charisma and Eva's raw, introspective talent. In interviews, Chuck praised Eva's vocal prowess, while Eva expressed her joy in working with him, calling it the biggest thrill of her life. Despite their contrasting personalities, Chuck's gregariousness and Eva's shyness, their partnership flourished, with Chuck emphasizing that the album allowed him to return to his roots in jazz and blues, a departure from the high-energy demands of go-go music. This collaboration not only elevated Eva's career, but also highlighted her ability to connect deeply with the audiences through her authentic, heartfelt performances. Chris and Eva's romantic relationship began in 1990, and after seeking her mother's approval, Eva moved in with Chris in Upper Marlboro, where they lived in a simple, happy life together.
We went swimming a lot. We rode our bikes. We used to walk the dog. We liked renting movies. She wasn't big on gourmet things. She loved pizzas, and she loved tuna fish sandwiches, and we were known to buy hot dogs from 7-Eleven on a regular basis. Her favorite movie was The Color Purple. She loved the music. She loved the whole character Whoopi Goldberg played. She also liked Empire of the Sun and Pulp Fiction, though I remember she didn't like Ghost. We did not like that movie at all. We walked out of it before the end, thought it was pretty hokey. From time to time, she would put on a dress and get dressed up, but it was something she couldn't wait to get out of. She mostly wore my clothes. She'd find a shirt or something that she liked, and she'd wear that, jeans and work boots.
Eva found joy in gardening, painting, and spending time with Chris, who supported her through moments of self-doubt and celebrated her artistic talents. They shared a love for outdoor activities, movies, and travel, with Eva even performing at open mic nights during their vacations. Eva's quirky sense of humor shone through at friends' weddings, where she performed songs like Your Cheating Heart and Bridge Over Troubled Water, often with ironic and unexpected choices. Despite her fear of performing, Eva took the stage with Chuck Brown at Blues Alley, wearing a dress at Al Dale's insistence and finding comfort in Chuck's charismatic presence. Their performances blending jazz and blues showcased their musical chemistry, with Eva gaining confidence and Chuck experimenting with new sounds. Though stage fright never fully left her, Eva's collaboration with Chuck marked a turning point, allowing her to shine as a vocalist and grow as an artist. Eva and Chuck's performances at major events like Columbia Art Festival and Stone Soul Picnic and the Kennedy Center showcased their growing popularity, with Eva's voice captivating audiences and earning her recognition. Despite her reluctance to conform to a single genre, Eva's talent caught the attention of Bruce Lundvall from Blue Note Records, who founded a demo after being impressed by her live audition in New York.
I got a call from an independent A&R guy called Andy Furman. He said, "I have a girl here who's just wonderful." So I said, "Great, bring her up." And he came to my office in New York with Eva. There was this really wonderful-looking woman with long blonde hair and big blue eyes, with a very spiritual, beatific look on her face, and with a very quiet voice when she spoke. She had nothing to play to me, nothing on tape or anything. She didn't even have a guitar on her. So she just stood in the middle of my office and sang Amazing Grace a cappella, and I just absolutely fell apart. I said, "Oh my God, what an amazing voice!" It was incredibly powerful, but the thing that really killed me was when she sang softly. It was so beautiful. I never heard anything like that in my life. It was incredible. Her voice would just freeze me. I thought she was absolutely wonderful. So we talked about direction, and she said she just liked to sing songs that she loved, and that covered a wide span of material. So I listened to some of the stuff she had done with Chuck Brown and some other stuff. But it was all over the place, so I didn't know what to do.
Eva recording a diverse set of songs, including A Wayfaring Stranger and Nightbird, but her refusal to be pigeonholed into one style ultimately stalled the deal with the Blue Note. Similarly, interest from Apollo Records ended abruptly when the company went bankrupt, and Eva's resistance to corporate pressures led to a dead end with MCA Records. Eva's collaboration with Pieces of a Dream on their album Goodbye Manhattan in 1994 was a mixed experience, as the producer's rigid recording methods stifled her creativity, though she joined the group for a short promotional tour. Despite these challenges, Eva's talent was recognized at the 1993 Grammys, where she won Best Female Vocalist, though her acceptance speech revealed her humility and surprise at the honor. While her work with Pieces of a Dream and the Grammy win were milestones, Eva's solo career remained elusive, with Blue Note's reluctance to sign her due to her refusal to conform to a single genre. Keith Grimes later compared this missed opportunity to Decca's rejection of the Beatles, noting that Blue Note's eventual success with Norah Jones mirrored what could have been Eva's trajectory. Despite these setbacks, Eva's live performances continued to improve, with her bandmates prioritizing her voice and emotional delivery over their own egos. Chris Biondo likened the band to a vehicle helping Eva reach her destiny, emphasizing their supportive role in her journey. Eva's ability to connect deeply with the audiences through her voice and her gift for arranging songs, stripping them down to their emotional core, solidified her legacy, even as she remained humble and uncertain about her own abilities. Her second Grammys invitation in 1994, which included a performance opportunity, marked another step in her growing recognition.
I was blown away by her voice, and I wanted to find a way to let more people know about her. As the word spread, I thought I had enough justification to put her on the Whammies show. We have fairly strict guidelines for who can be selected to perform, and we showcase different musical styles from year to year.
Eva's performance at the 1994 Grammys, where she sang solo versions of Time After Time and Over the Rainbow, initially drew skepticism from the audience, but her powerful delivery silenced the room, earning her a standing ovation. Around the same time, Mick Fleetwood, impressed by the Eva Cassidy band's unique blend of folk and rock, offered to help them secure a record deal, though Eva's refusal to narrow her musical focus stalled progress.
And I remember talking with her, and I was aware of this person who was just as pure as snow, crystals, just totally, and sort of stubborn, really. She was trying to get a record deal, trying to be, noticed, but just almost thinking, well, it's sort of what I'm supposed to do, right? She was looking for someone who understood her, except there was no one out there that really understood her. I basically said, well, why don't you go and play the game?
Meanwhile, Eva continued her physically demanding work at Banker's nurseries, where she earned respect as the only woman on the crew, handling heavy labor and contributing to the propagation of plants that still thrive in Maryland gardens. In 1993, Eva faced a health scare when biopsy revealed malignant melanoma on her back.
After that appointment, I wasn't home, and she came over. She told her father that they had found a spot on the lungs that was cancerous, and her first thought was, how is Mom going to take this?
But after surgery, she was assured the cancer had been fully removed, though she avoided follow-up appointments. Despite her health concerns, Eva remained active, enjoying outdoor activities with her mother Barbara and taking a memorable trip to Europe, where she performed on a Greek island, captivating locals with her voice. Back home, Eva maintained close friendships, cycling and creative art, and comedic films. Eva's relationship with Chris Biondo, however, began to strain as she felt confined by the expectations of their partnership, leading her to seek a temporary break to reassess her life. During this period, Eva visited her brother Dan in Iceland, where her performances at the Blues Bar in Reykjavik were met with reverence, and she found a new sense of freedom both musically and personally. Her success in Iceland, including a live radio performance of Bridge Over Troubled Water, marked a turning point in her confidence and connection with the audiences. Throughout these experiences, Eva's friendships and artistic pursuits remained central to her life, even as she grappled with the complexities of her personal and professional relationships. Eva's friendship with Anna Karen Kristendottir, whom she met in Iceland, I don't know if I spoke the name correctly, became a transformative relationship, as Anna Karen's outgoing and empathetic nature helped Eva confront her fears and embrace life more fully. Anna Karen's encouragement and care, from comforting words to small gestures like preparing baths and cocktails, gradually helped Eva build self-confidence and self-acceptance. During her time in Iceland, Eva also realized she needed to make significant changes in her life, including stepping away from her relationship with Chris Biondo and pursuing a solo musical career, free from the constraints of band dynamics. With the help of friends like Jackie Fletcher, Eva moved out of Chris's home and into Jackie's house in Annapolis, where she found a creative sanctuary surrounded by her art and vintage treasures, though she struggled with Jackie's outspoken nature and preferred solitude for her creative process. Eva's deep connection with Anna Karen continued, with Anna Karen visiting her in Annapolis and celebrating her 32nd birthday, though Eva often retreated to her room, valuing her alone time. Eva and Jackie shared meaningful conversations about life, art, and social issues, particularly slavery and civil rights, topics that resonated deeply with Eva, who admired black culture and was inspired by works like The Color Purple. Eva's spiritual journey was also a significant part of her life, shaped by her upbringing in the Unitarian Universalist tradition, which emphasized personal growth, justice, and compassion, though she explored various spiritual ideas, including those of Edgar Cayce, influenced by her father, Hugh. Throughout these changes, Eva remained true to herself, prioritizing her music and art while navigating the complexities of her relationships and personal growth.
I stayed with her for a few weeks in January through to February 1996. She was playing me the demo of Blues Alley. We had a long ride to a gig, and she was playing Fields of Gold, and I said, "Wouldn't it be great to send a copy of this to Sting?" And she was almost saying, "What's wrong with you? Are you out of your mind? That would never happen." I said, "Well, it could happen. Just make it happen." She never believed in her wildest dreams. She said, "I can't wait to finish that CD. I'm talking about Blues Alley to do stuff that I want to do, the way I want to do it." She wasn't happy with it. She thought it was too aggressive and not so much her and the way she would have wanted it. And of course, she was releasing that music and she wanted to be happy with it. But she didn't like that CD. It depressed her. She got mad about it.
Meanwhile, Eva's friend Jackie Fletcher helped her navigate daily life, encouraging healthier habits and financial responsibility, while also supporting her through the emotional complexity of her breakup with Chris Biondo, with whom she remained close friends. Eva's musical career flourished in Annapolis, where she performed in intimate venues like the Maryland Inn and Pearls, captivating audiences with her voice and guitar, though her shyness often kept her from engaging directly with the crowd. A standout performance at Reynolds Tavern in 1994 alongside her brother Dan and friend Larry Melton showcased her talent and happiness. Despite her growing confidence, Eva's dream of performing in Europe remained unfulfilled, and her versatility was further highlighted when she contributed background vocals to an unreleased track for Tupac Shakur's album All Eyes on Me. Realizing major record labels wouldn't accommodate her artistic vision, Eva, Chris and Al Dale decided to record a live album at Blues Alley in January 1996, funded in part by Eva's aunt Isabel, capturing her raw talent and emotional depth in a setting that allowed her to shine. This live recording would later become a cornerstone of her legacy, showcasing her ability to connect deeply with audiences through her music. Eva Cassidy's Live at Blues Alley recording sessions in January 96 were a high-stakes endeavor, marked by technical challenges and immense pressure, as the band aimed to capture her raw talent in a live setting. Despite initial audio issues during the first night, the second night's performance, though fraught with Eva's cold and lingering sound problems, yielded enough quality material for the album. The recording showcased Eva's versatility, from the jazzy swing of Cheek to Cheek to the soulful depth of Stormy Monday, where her bluesy vocals and Keith Grimes' masterful guitar work shone. Eva's emotional delivery on songs like Bridge Over Troubled Water and Tall Trees in Georgia revealed her ability to connect deeply with her audiences, even as she battled nerves and illness. The album also highlighted the band's cohesion, with Lenny Williams's piano adding a jazzy flair and Chris Biondo's bass anchoring the rhythm, though some tracks suffered from uneven mixing. Eva's solo performances, such as Fields of Gold and Autumn Leaves, demonstrated her maturity as an artist, with her voice conveying both vulnerability and strength. The energetic rendition of Al Green's Take Me to the River stood out, showcasing Eva's ability to rock with passion, while her heartfelt dedication of What a Wonderful World to her parents added a personal touch to the recording. Despite the technical flaws and the pressure of the live setting, Live at Blues Alley captured Eva's unique artistry and emotional depth, solidifying her legacy as a gifted musician whose talent transcended genre boundaries. The album, though imperfect, remained a testament to her ability to move audiences with her voice and authenticity. Eva Cassidy's Live at Blues Alley album concluded with the studio recording of Pete Seeger's Oh, Had I a Golden Thread, featuring Hilton Felton Jr. on Hammond B3 organ, which added a gospel feel despite the song's lack of spiritual depth. While Eva's vocal prowess was undeniable, the track felt more like a showcase for her range than a cohesive part of the album. The accompanying DVD, Eva Sings, included performances not on the album, such as a relaxed yet imperfect rendition of Over the Rainbow, which, though flawed, captured Eva's integrity and emotional depth. Despite the technical challenges and Eva's dissatisfaction with the live recordings, Chris Biondo and Al Dale worked to compile a coherent album, blending live tracks with studio recordings to meet Eva's high standards. Eva's friend Larry Melton photographed the album cover, capturing her at ease against the iconic Blues Alley backdrop, while the liner notes included an acknowledgement to Jackie Fletcher about sugar, reflecting Eva's playful yet private nature.
The first time I heard Eva sing was in my house at a Christmas party. As the party wore on, I noticed some people trying to encourage Eva to get up and sing at a microphone over by the fireplace. She was very reluctant to do so, and she had to be coaxed. Finally, she got up to the microphone and she chose Stormy Monday, and that was the first time I heard Eva sing live. I was stunned. If you hadn't been looking at her, you'd think she was a black woman. It was a beautiful, beautiful rendition of Stormy Monday, and I was so impressed. I thought, damn, what talent does she have? She came to live with me shortly after she'd broken up with Chris. Things hadn't been working out, and she chose to move on and decided to move to Annapolis. I happened to have a room, and she called it her apartment upstairs. It was tough for her because she didn't want to hurt Chris. She wanted Chris to be happy, and she wanted Chris to date around. But at the same time, that made her nervous.
Despite a positive review from Joel E. Siegel, Eva remained critical of the album, expressing her frustration in a letter to her brother, citing technical issues, her strained voice, and financial strain from funding the project. Around this time, Eva's health began to decline, and she confided in her mother that she had no regrets, having always been allowed to create. She moved into her own apartment in Annapolis, embracing independence and taking pride in her new space, while continuing to perform and work at Haven Studios, where she painted murals for school cafeterias. Despite her growing success and independence, Eva's health issues persisted, with hip pain from working on ladders prompting medical advice to rest, though she remained determined to pursue her artistic and musical passions. Eva Cassidy's final months were marked by both profound suffering and moments of grace, as she faced her terminal illness with courage and surrounded herself with the love of family and friends. Her farewell performance at the Bayou, where she sang "What a Wonderful World," was a deeply emotional moment, showcasing her resilience and the deep connection she had with her audience, despite her weakened state. The concert raised $10,000, which Eva selflessly donated to young cancer patients she had met at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. As her health deteriorated, Eva worked with Chris Biondo to complete her album Eva by Heart, recording heartfelt tracks like I Know You by Heart and Songbird, though time was running out. Her brother Dan and close friend like Anna Karen visited often, bringing music and comfort, while Eva's parents, Hugh and Barbara, cared for her tirelessly. In her final days, Eva found solace in music, spirituality, and the presence of loved ones, including a poignant visit from folk singer Grace Griffith, who sang with Eva and her family. Eva's journey ended on November 2nd, 1996, when she passed away at home, leaving behind a legacy of extraordinary music and a spirit that touched everyone who knew her. Her story, marked by both struggle and beauty, continues to inspire as her voice lives on through her recordings. Eva Cassidy's passing left a profound impact on those who knew her and those who discovered her music, as her extraordinary voice and spirit continued to resonate long after her death. Richard Harrington's poignant article in the Washington Post highlighted Eva's unique talent and the deep loss felt by her friends, family and fans, with Bruce Landwald expressing regret for not signing her to Blue Note Records. Eva's ability to transcend genres, folk, blues, jazz and gospel, was celebrated, as was her humility and lack of ego, which made her music all the more authentic and moving. Her final performance at the Bayou, where she sang What a Wonderful World, became a defining moment, showcasing her resilience and the love she inspired in others. Despite her illness, Eva's focus remained on creating beauty through her art, and her selflessness was evident when she donated the proceeds from her farewell concert to young cancer patients. Her memorial service, held in Maryland State Park, was a heartfelt celebration of her life, filled with music, memories, and tributes from family and friends, including Grace Griffith's rendition of Oh, Had I a Golden Thread, a song that held deep personal meaning for Eva. Reverend Linda Olson Peebles' closing words emphasized the enduring power of Eva's music and creativity, which continued to heal and inspire. 15 years later, Reverend Linda Olson remembered how Eva's legacy remains a state testament of her extraordinary talent, her love for life, and the profound impact she had on everyone who heard her sing.
Eva's religion was the power of the spirit as it comes through people in music or art, expressed in love and in nature. She was not a creedalist, did not adhere to one particular branch or denomination or faith tradition. Her spirituality was one of openness and universality, reverence and joy for the whole of creation, and for all of us who are part of it. Songs were her prayers. Many people find comfort in Eva's interpretations of gospel songs. Eva also found strength in singing them. I cannot say exactly how we should interpret what they meant to her, however. I don't think she was a person who felt that being Bible-centered was important to her faith, nor did she believe that Jesus was the only way. The family didn't ask for any reference to Christ in the service. For Eva, the power of the gospel songs was in their universality to all people's experiences, that in the face of hardship or sorrow, life and love are capable of carrying us and comforting us.
Eva Cassidy's legacy continued to grow after her death, as her music touched countless lives and her talent was recognized posthumously. At the Venice Awards ceremony, Eva was honored as Artist of the Year, with her parents accepting the award on her behalf, while Chris Biondo and the band worked tirelessly to complete her posthumous album, Eva by Heart. This album, a labor of love, featured meticulously crafted tracks like Wade in the Water and Whirly Whirly, showcasing Eva's versatility and emotional depth. Chuck Brown, deeply affected by Eva's passing, dedicated his 1998 album Timeless to her, refusing to collaborate with another female singer, as he believed no one could replace her. Meanwhile, Sting was moved by Eva's rendition of Fields of Gold, praising her voice's ethereal quality and emotional depth she brought to his song. Chris Biondo, determined to honor Eva's memory, collaborated with musicians like Karen Van Sant and Chris Walker to perfect the album, blending Eva's vocals with rich instrumental arrangements. Released through Chuck Brown's Liaison Records, Eva by Heart received critical acclaim. Recognizing Eva's potential for a wider audience, Grace Griffith introduced her music to Bill Straw of Belix Street Records, who, alongside with Martin Jennings of Hot Records, saw the universal appeal of Eva's voice. In November 1997, Blackstreet secured the rights to release Eva's recordings, leading to the creation of the compilation album Songbird, which combined highlights from her previous works and introduced her to a global audience. Through these efforts, Eva's music transcended her untimely death, ensuring her voice would continue to inspire and heal listeners worldwide. Eva Cassidy's posthumous rise to fame was marked by the release of Songbird, an album that captivated audiences in the UK and beyond, thanks to the efforts of Tony Bramwell and Martin Jennings. Bramwell, a seasoned music promoter, recognized Eva's unique talent and successfully introduced her music to BBC Radio 2, where Terry Vaughan's support for Over the Rainbow sparked an overwhelming response from listeners. The album's success was further amplified by its feature on Top of the Pops, where a clip of Eva's live performance resonated deeply with viewers, leading to widespread media attention and critical acclaim. Songbird became a cultural phenomenon, topping the UK charts and outselling major hits like Dido's No Angel. This success paved the way for the release of Time After Time in 2000, a collection of Eva's solo and collaborative recordings that showcased her versatility across the genres, from folk to blues to pop. Thoughtful design for the album's booklet, featuring Eva's artwork and handwritten notes, added a personal touch that celebrated her artistry and love for nature. Eva Cassidy's parents sued David Lorim over the re-release of the album Method Actor, in which Eva had participated as a vocalist. Ned Judy, Eva's friend and bandmate, defended Lorim, stating that the Eva willingly contributed to the album, which was recorded professionally with other Bowie musicians. Judy emphasized that Eva was excited about the project, even designing the album cover, argued that her estate should receive compensation but not prevent the album's distribution. He expressed concern that attempts to suppress the album erased a part of Eva's career, reflecting the same narrow-mindedness that had hindered her during her lifetime. The controversy centered on whether the recordings were amateurish, but method actor had been produced in a professional studio, reviewed by the Washington Post and distributed in record stores. Lurim, who had struggled commercially, reissued the album in 2002, but the Cassidys and Bleak Street Records filed a legal claim, arguing it could be mistaken for Eva's solo project. The court denied their injunction, ruling that Method Actor was a joint work and Lurim had the rights to distribute it under a signed agreement with Eva and other band members. Despite this, Bleak Street continued to oppose the release, leading to further legal battles. Eventually, the Cassidys cooperated with Lurim on a film project about Eva, but conflicts with Bleak Street persisted, including a lawsuit over a documentary. Meanwhile, Eva's posthumous fame sparked dispute over royalties with former collaborators, like Al Dale seeking unpaid commissions. Amid the legal turmoil, Bleak Street released Imagine, a collection of Eva's unreleased recordings, showcasing her versatility and emotional depth. The album included standout tracks like It Doesn't Matter Anymore and Danny Boy, though some critics questioned the necessity of releasing more material. Despite the controversies, Eva's music continued to resonate, though the legal battles and commercialization of her legacy stood in the stark contrast of her artistic spirit and desire for her music to be heard. In August 2002, The Independent reviewed Eva Cassidy's album Imagine, praising her folksy and soulful performances, particularly her renditions of Who Knows Where the Time Goes and It Doesn't Matter Anymore. Bleak Street's next release, American Tune 2003, topped the UK album charts, featuring tracks recorded at various locations, including Pearl's restaurant and Chris Biondo's studio. Guitarist Keith Grimes contributed tapes from rehearsals and sessions, though some recordings suffered from poor quality. During the move from Biondo's house, underdeveloped rolls of film were discovered, revealing intimate holiday photos of Eva, which were used in the album's artwork, capturing her connection with nature. The album included standout tracks like Drowning in the Sea of Love, True Colors and The Water is Wide, showcasing Eva's versatility and emotional depth. American Tune, the title track, was a highlight with its haunting melody and poignant lyrics. Despite some flaws, the album reinforced Eva's enduring appeal. In 2005, Amazon.com ranked Eva Cassidy as the 5th best-selling artist in its history, ahead of legends like Bob Dylan and Elvis Presley. Bleak Street later released Somewhere in 2008, featuring rare solo performances like A Bold Young Farmer and Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. The album includes diverse tracks from Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors to Bobby Blue Bland's Ain't Doing Too Bad, with additional instrumentation enhancing the band's sound. Eva's rendition of Chain of Fools was reworked with backing vocals by the Tremaine sisters, while Won't Be Long showcased her vocal range. Despite occasional sound quality issues, the album highlighted Eva's ability to infuse traditional and contemporary songs with her unique artistry. The title song, Somewhere, was particularly significant as it was the only song Eva wrote entirely herself, with music composed by Chris Biondo. Though unfinished at the time of her death, the song was completed posthumously. Despite Biondo's reservations about releasing material Eva might have deemed subpar. The album reached number 4 in UK charts and was certified gold, demonstrating the public's enduring appetite for Eva's music. Meanwhile, Eva's legacy continued to grow through the efforts of dedicated fans and advocates. Michael Kwan, the American figure skater, played a pivotal role in introducing Eva to a wider audience by performing to Fields of Gold during the 2002 Winter Olympics, which helped Songbird achieve gold certification in the US. Henrik Phil Nilsson, a Danish musician and Eva enthusiast, co-founded the website Eva Songs, transcribing her songs and compiling an extensive archive of her work. Despite occasional conflicts with record labels over sharing rare material, Henry's dedication helped preserve Eva's legacy. Similarly, Laura Bly, Eva's cousin, created evacassidy.org, a comprehensive resource featuring interviews, reviews, and rare recordings. Laura's site became a hub for fans seeking to understand Eva's life and music, though she occasionally faced pressure from the Cassidy family to remove controversial content. Through these efforts, Eva's story and music continued to resonate, reaching new audiences and ensuring her place as a beloved and influential artist. Her ability to connect with listeners on a deeply emotional level, combined with the tireless work of her fans, has kept her legacy alive, even years after her untimely death. British TV filmmakers Rob Burley and Jonathan Maitland embarked on a project to document Eva Cassidy's life in 2001, initially creating a short film for ITV's Tonight with Trevor McDonald. Recognizing the depth of Eva's stories, they expanded their work into a biography titled Eva Cassidy, Songbird, her story by those who knew her. The Cassidys, along with their lawyer, facilitated interviews, ensuring the book's completion despite tight deadlines. However, the biography faced criticism from its selective portrayal, omitting key figures like Rice McLeod, Al Dale, L. David Loring, and presenting a sanitized, almost idealized version of Eva's life. The American edition, co-authored by the family lawyer, further emphasized this polished narrative, which some readers felt lacked authenticity and depth. This approach inadvertently fueled speculation and rumors, particularly about Eva's personal life, including unfounded tabloid stories about her relationships. The book's omissions, such as details about Barbara Cassidy's German past and Eva's inner struggles, left the gaps that media and internet forums eagerly filled, sometimes with harmful gossip. Despite its commercial success, Songbird alienated some of Eva's closest collaborators, like Ned Judy, who refused further interviews, and disappointed fans like Laura Bly, who felt the book missed crucial aspects of Eva's story. Meanwhile, a musical titled Over the Rainbow, produced by Phoenix Productions, brought Eva's life to the stage, though it faced challenges with the Cassidy family over rights and profits. The musical, which toured extensively and won accolades, offered audiences a glimpse into Eva's world, even if her family never attended. Eva's influence extended beyond her lifetime, inspiring artists like Katie Melua, who paid tribute to her with the song Faraway Voice. Melua's performance of Eva's songs, including a duet on Wonderful World, introduced Eva's world to new audiences, though it also highlighted ongoing tensions between Blix Street Records and the Cassidy family over royalties. In 2004, Michael Ingram, her former bandmate from Characters Without Names, released a CD featuring Eva's song Baggage, though it saw little commercial success. That same year, Mary Chapin Carpenter paid tribute to Eva in her song My Heaven, referencing Fields of Gold. Meanwhile, Eva's collaborators like Keter Betts and Kent Wood passed away, leaving behind memories of their contributions to her music. Grace Griffith, another artist influenced by Eva, released her album My Life in 2006, produced by Chris Biondo and Lenny Williams, who contributed to collaborate and win awards for their work. Despite numerous attempts to create a biopic about Eva's life, filmmakers faced challenges, particularly in securing rights to her music. Meg Ryan's proposed film aimed to explore Eva's darker side, but it never materialized. Billy Straw, determined to bring Eva's stories to the screen, explored various ideas, including an animated film based on her artwork, though progress remains slow. Eva's art, though less recognized than her music, showcased her talent for capturing emotion and atmosphere, with pieces like Night Flight, revealing her unique perspective. Vincent van den Kerk proposed an exhibition of Eva's artwork in Amsterdam, but the project stalled due to the Cassidy family's reluctance. Similarly, interest from the National Gallery of Art in Washington never came to fruition. In 2011, Simply Eva, an album of solo acoustic performances, was released, offering stripped-down versions of her songs, including the previously unreleased San Francisco Bay Blues. The album highlighted Eva's raw talent, with tracks like Songbird and Wayfaring Stranger showcasing her guitar skills and emotive voice. The album included a mature version of Over the Rainbow, recorded live at Pearls, which showcased Eva's emotional depth and improved sound quality compared to earlier renditions. Tracks like Cathy's Song and San Francisco Bay Blues further demonstrated her ability to captivate listeners with simplicity and restraint, even as background chatter from the audience occasionally intruded. The album's stripped-down approach reinforced the idea that Eva's talent shone brightest in unadorned performances, where her voice and guitar could speak for themselves. Simply Eva reached number 4 on UK album charts and was certified gold, proving that Eva's music continued to resonate with new and old fans alike. Despite the lack of a physical grave, Eva's legacy is memorialized through her music and the silver grey angel sculpture created by her father Hugh, which stands in their garden by Chesapeake Bay. This angel, with its rusted wings and upward gaze, symbolizes Eva's ethereal grace and the beauty she brought into the world. Eva's life was marked by a deep connection to art and nature, and her music continues to offer hope and comfort to listeners, transcending the materialistic values of modern society. However, her posthumous fame was also sparked little but battles and disputes over royalties, creating a stark contrast between the purity of her artistry and the complexities of her legacy. Friends, family, and former bandmates, once united in celebrating her talent, now find themselves divided in courtrooms fighting over the rights to her work. Despite these conflicts, Eva's influence remained undeniable, inspiring artists across genres and generations. As her music continues to touch hearts worldwide, there is a growing call for those involved in her legacy to set aside their differences and honor Eva for the extraordinary artist she was, ensuring that her memory remains untarnished by the disputes that have followed her death. Thank you for watching.